Hello, everybody. Welcome to the third episode of the Bane of Existence podcast. I'm here with Ben Carlson and Zane Gerbowski. I'm Jacob Boyder, for the first time with webcam, and we're here with our guest, Ben Allen. So, what's up?
I was trying to think of a clever or witty example of something to say, but I can't.
Nice.
That was very clever and witty.
Ben Allen, I have not seen you in a minute.
You've not seen me
Enlighten
in a
us. Enlighten us. First thought that
What?
comes to your head.
Pineapple.
Pineapple.
Oh no.
Have a pineapple pizza. We have a story about that.
I'm not getting into this.
We're not going to get into it.
I'm not getting into this. You can start with what you wanted to
I wasn't
talk
part
about.
of the story,
Okay.
and I
If
feel
you
really
want.
left out.
Or I can tell my war story.
Start with the war story.
Okay. So this is a story for you because I already told them to. So there's this trail that me and I'm not gonna name names here, but there's a trail that me and a friend of mine go to. It's like that way, right? And shut up, okay?
No, it's just behind the door.
But well, it is actually. But we went on the trail, and on our way back, it was almost pitch black outside, and he was running late to get home.
Oh, it's a he now.
So, yeah,
Dog, they're in the woods.
I go into the woods alone with another dude. Why is that weird?
Not making any assumptions
Sounds like
here,
a
but
cult
I
to
totally
me,
am.
okay.
It's not a cult. Okay?
It's a cult.
Well, then
It's
what-
just
it's a
if it's
two-man
not a
cult.
cult, then it must have been something boring. Like,
it's just a religion.
okay.
It's called being gay.
Alright.
So, anywho,
Hey, you do your
We're
We're supposed to
shut
say
up.
that. It's kind of. We're supposed to keep that like down
Oh,
low.
yeah, you
okay,
can't talk about
you
gay
can't talk about
you
that.
can't talk about gay people. Okay.
You can't talk about
You
Zane
can't talk
being
about
gay.
literally anything.
Don't do it.
Literally,
Look-
do not speak. Do not
Look
speak.
me in the eyes and tell me you won't do it again.
I will not do it again.
Good.
That was cap.
So,
So,
Eventually-
lesbians, am I right?
dude, shut
Oh,
up.
no. You can keep playing. But a dog.
I need
Dog
to
with a
finish my
butter.
story.
Okay, yeah, actually, I want to get into the story.
Okay, so he was running late to get home, and there's this like 100-foot tall hill, like over there, right?
Like 100 feet.
So we were on our way back, and the way we usually go was covered in water, so we couldn't go that way, and we had our bikes with us. So we had to push our bikes up this hill. The problem was it was completely overgrown with thorns.
Hold on.
So
You were walking up a hill. Wait, I'm confused. When did the bikes appear? Because you're
okay,
saying you're running in the
we-
woods, and all of a sudden bikes, and you're carrying them up a hill?
we rode over across this huge field out there, over to there, and then dropped our bikes off and went under a fence, and then walked around. Not sketch at all. So we had our bikes with us.
After we jumped the barbed wire fence.
We had to, actually there is a barbed wire fence, but there's a
Wow.
green gate that we usually jump, but we went under this time. Shut up. So we're pushing up this hill, thorns everywhere, pitch black outside. My friend is going super fast, extremely painful. I have 2 gashes on my legs. I have probably six cuts on my hands. But all that time my bike chain fell off, so I couldn't ride home. So I had to, pitch black outside. I'm trying to fix the chain. My hands are now covered in like oil
and
or
blood.
grease or whatever, and blood actually. I had a bunch of blood on my hand, and I'm walking home, and this dude in black track pants.
Not the
like
same dude that you're
swishy
walking
kind.
with, or is it?
No, it's not those. We parted ways, and I'm walking home, and this dude in swishy black pants and a black shirt is walking, like I'm going this way, and he's coming perpendicular towards me. So I go, we're at an intersection, and there's a truck at the end of a road down there. So I was like, oh, what's that truck doing? And I was really checking where he went, and he turned and went behind me and started following me when it was pitch black outside.
Oh,
So I
that's
thought
so
I might, can I say rape on here? No. I thought I was going to get sexed. I thought I was going to get sexed, but I didn't think. So that's the war story.
Moral of the story is, when you
Never-
go out in the woods,
Always bring your shotgun.
When you go in the woods, never trust the dudes with the swishy pants.
Swishy pants are not trustworthy.
you wear swishy pants, like, ever.
He was also like 50. He was bald. He had like the traditional hair around the sides and back of the head.
What if he just wanted to be a part of your cult?
Why would you need to be worried if he was 50? I mean,
Because it's still a grown man who wants to
I guess that's true.
sex little kids.
How do you
Okay,
know,
moving into our next
how
topic.
do you know it wasn't Johnny Sins?
Okay,
I mean,
Saying
I've seen some
bald.
pretty buff old men,
Who?
but I'm
Johnny
just saying,
Sins.
like if
He's
he's
a, he's a doctor,
50
right?
years old,
Yeah.
Doctor,
I think that
right?
there's a
That's
certain
doctor.
there's like a certain
An
age limit
astronaut.
when it's like, you know, he might try to hurt me, but is he really physically capable of doing this?
I think 60 is the threshold.
Like sometimes you like see
Depending
this
on
like
the dude. Have you seen that really old bodybuilder?
Yeah.
Dude's like 70 and he's shredded.
Have you seen Arnold
I've seen it.
Schwarzenegger recently?
Yeah,
like,
dude.
I mean,
He's
those
crazy.
steroids did wonders for him.
They did.
Like,
They
he's
lasted
still,
him
like,
forever.
He like
I mean,
he
he's
doesn't look
sagging-
that
he's
great,
sagging a
me.
little bit now.
but like he's like
underneath
he still
all
retains
the
his
excess
muscle.
skin.
Yeah.
Like you
he's
can definitely
still-
see. I
he's
saw
still
like
strong,
his.
I mean, he still works out and everything. It's not like he just dropped it.
Your
Working
story?
out, walking at night.
okay, that's it,
It was
guys.
honestly
We're
terri-
ending the
it was
podcast
honestly
right here.
horrifying. It was so painful. My sweatpants are covered in like those bushel things that stick to your clothes,
Yeah.
Ugh.
and
That's
they
why
were
you gotta wear
stabbing
swishy
into my
pants.
legs.
That's why he was wearing
thorns
swishy
going
pants,
in and in.
dude.
What if
You're right.
What if it
you're
was
right.
Arnold? He was just getting a late night workout in.
He was really skinny for Arnold Schwarzenegger.
He was just so
What if
impressed.
So
he's
I should've-
training for a
I
marathon?
should have started yelling "creep." To be honest, like if we're walking in the middle of the night, I should have just started screaming "creep." That would have worked.
No, it wouldn't.
Scare 'em
Ruining
away.
the
just
man's
don't-
fun.
Did you imagine walking late at night, like just trying to get exercise in, and then some annoying looking kid just comes up in front of you?
Creep!
And then
Creep! Creep! Get out of here! Creep!
He's gonna sex me.
I feel like that's a good switch over point for our next topic: dependency.
All right. That's not at all.
Old
but-
Hold
man
on, hold
sexing
the
little
phone.
kids. Dependency. Let's dive into it. So,
Okay. I kind of told you guys about this before, but independent and dependent.
Clauses.
Learned it in
Variables.
geometry. Didn't ever pay attention. You know, it is what it is. However,
It is.
I feel like the only thing that personally I should be dependent on, and what everyone should be dependent on, is God. I thought that was the dog on the screen, like the butter dog. I feel like everyone, at least this is just my philosophy, be dependent on no one and nothing else
Did you just
sorry,
cra-
Doris, keep going. I'm sorry.
except for God. Wait.
I don't think he's good. No, I don't think you're good.
We're
Alright,
experiencing
fine.
I don't even-
technical
okay,
difficulties. Please stand by.
Basically, yeah, what I'm trying to say is what I believe is that my life, I'm trying to work towards being dependent solely on God, not being dependent on other people and other things. Now, I'm not saying like, you know, community. So, you know, if like you have people like your family, you work together, but at the same time, like, for example, women
Yeah.
or men, however you, maybe you're a 50-year-old guy in Swishy pants. I don't know. Whatever floats your boat. But whatever, like relationships, that's what I'm trying to say. Relationships. If you have set goals in mind that, like, take a lot of work, I feel like relationships, although they're good, they can kind of tend to stray you away from your goals,
Yeah.
depending on what your goals are.
It's like being in a relationship is okay, but like you sometimes get to a point where it's like you become obsessed with this person. You're more focused on the person than your actual goals. And a lot of times, like, your goals really are more important. Like, especially when it comes to like high school relationships, 9 times out of 10, that's not gonna work out. So it's like you're kind of just wasting your time just to feel a little bit better about yourself. I don't know, when you could actually be accomplishing something that'll help you in the future, when you're just wasting time in a relationship that's not going to last.
But at the same time, how often do we use this extra time of not being in a relationship for our benefit?
I don't. It doesn't matter if I'm in a relationship or not. I waste
I thought
so
you were
much
gonna say
time.
virgin.
There's a song I was gonna think of, but anyways. Ben, what are your thoughts on that? Zane being a virgin. No, I do not condone sex before marriage.
Unless it's with a swishy fans.
Hey, man, it's not your
Unless
choice.
it's necessary.
What? What? Dog, what?
Well, then again,
Hold
Saying-
on, hold
you know,
on.
anything is
For the
possible.
species.
We all know it. We all know anything's possible. So, what if Swishy Pants Man has a gun held to a family member's head and says, "If you don't have sex before marriage, I will kill your family member"? Would you do it?
can
Would
you
do
choose?
it?
Can
Would
you
you do
choose
it?
who to have sex with.
Yes. I would do it.
But
I would do it.
he doesn't.
Just have
If he
sex
owns,
with a
like-
shotgun and then shoot him in the
He's
head.
And
have-
it's so easy nowadays. You can, I mean,
Yeah, just like I'm not
up.
gonna say that.
I could read you for getting
easy.
something bad.
It
I
could be
don't know what
easy to
is.
find someone, but is it someone you'd actually want to like be involved with? Like
You don't
not
have
just
to nowadays.
physically.
You don't
Alright,
have to nowadays.
can I be real quick? I have not met a single person that I have looked at, talked to, and said, "Yeah, you know what? I want to spend the rest of my life with this person."
I agree.
Like,
I agree. I've talked to you about that, haven't I?
yeah, I don't
I'm-
understand how people can get into like 5 relationships so soon. If all you want is sex, like, what's the point in getting into in a relationship at all? Like, that it's a waste of time.
Go to Vegas if that's what you're looking for.
Yeah,
What I
for all
think
you
is
12-year-olds
another
out
thing.
there that are looking for relationships, just
Did you say
Vegas.
12-year-old girls?
you could be 12 and
We don't endorse crimes here.
We don't endorse pedophilia.
no, I'm saying
here.
12-year-olds.
Are you wearing
Going to
swishy pants
Vegas.
right now?
What?
Are you wearing swishy pants right now?
I'm not wearing.
That's
such
what
Prove
we're gonna
it.
call this podcast.
Prove
It's
it.
gonna be swishy pants.
All right, it's good. What were you gonna say?
I lost my train of thought. Sorry.
Way to go, Ben.
Yeah. Wait.
You
Which one?
That one. You messed up his train of thought. So way to go. I hope you're proud.
Weren't you the one who asked if he had swishy pants on?
Only after he started talking.
Why do you
over
want to
him.
know if I have swishy pants on? I feel
Just-
like you're trying to take your missed opportunity and kind of run with it. You really?
I don't even know what you're talking about.
Yes, you do.
Your logic just doesn't make sense.
Hey, eyes up here.
What
We're
do you think I
sitting
was
at a
looking
table.
What do you think I was looking at? The basket that you're holding onto so graciously.
I just figured, my.
Man, that's one
region.
hand weed.
I'm not gonna look at
basket.
another man's chest
Why?
unless it's really
It's not
impressive, like
gay.
Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Okay, I don't know what
Can we
we're
go-
talking about.
Can we go to the thing? Did you see the poll where it was like I think it was an Instagram story where if how did it go? Is 2 guys cuddling gay? And most people said yes, and then
Yeah.
it was
Or
or,
2
Is
women.
two-
if 2 girls are cuddling, is that gay? And most people
Yes.
said no.
Yeah, I know. Most people said no.
I
I
have a
say
good-
yes both
I have a
ways.
good
Gay,
thing.
dude, it's gay.
No,
I don't care what
no.
gender you are. If you want to be so gender equal, it's
And
gay for
we're
everyone.
not complaining about being gay, but it's just
I think the reason why it's different is because of.
That's
kind
solid
of.
6.5. Go ahead.
I think it's because of why men cuddle versus why women cuddle.
Why
I
do
think
women
it's
cuddle?
Be warm is literally.
Why would
men also cuddled.
So like
Wait, we're not
just-
cuddling after this?
no, no, stop.
You gotta kiss the homies goodnight. It says there's a Bible verse that says
kiss.
the homies would
No.
give the brothers a heavenly
Greet
kiss.
the brothers with a holy kiss.
Yeah, so give
That
the
doesn't-
homies a kiss. Greet the brothers as you leave. So give
Wait.
them a good night kiss.
It's a hi, but you're leaving.
Why are you high?
Hey man, bye.
I'm completely sober.
I'm not.
Giving a homie a kiss.
Shut up.
What? What? Okay, I don't even know what we're talking about anymore.
Dependency.
Well,
Dependency.
we were talking about guys and girls cuddling.
Yeah,
Here's,
so
okay, here's my
let's-
statement on that, right? I would argue, I kind of get what Ben's saying, right? I feel like men and women are very different.
Yeah.
And men, like, when it comes to stuff like sex, they just want it because it's pleasureful. Women have, like, other wants when it comes to stuff like that. So cuddling would probably fall under that. Dudes just wanting to, I don't know, get pleasure.
I think one of the biggest problems in society
Hammer
today
time.
is that they try to put they try to say men and women are equal. That's not true. Men and women are
They're
different.
not equal. They're not equal.
We're different. We're supposed to treat each other with the same amount of respect. However, God created man and woman with 2 separate roles in a relationship intended. So like the thought of men and women are equal, like they are literally the same thing, is wrong because God created man with a specific goal. Like God said, men are supposed to work and keep the ground. Like we're built to work. And then women are meant to help the man. There's 2 separate things that we have been designed for. And when you put them on the same playing field, it causes a lot of confusion. So the whole thing about cuddling, my point is that men pretty much only cuddle when they're in a romantic relationship, which is why it would be gay. Women do not.
I think that actually might be a really good point.
That is a good point.
Exactly.
Unless you're with that.
Mhm.
Trying to say
Well, if you, it's a completely
It's like
different
French
story.
people. It's like
No,
if you
I
said
do-
to an American, when Americans kiss, are they in love? That's normally yes. If a French person kisses a French person, that's the way that they
Of
greet
course
each
not,
other.
Of course.
But
Because French people are gay.
yeah,
That is
okay.
actually.
But like my point is
Look
that
up the article. There's an
I'm actually-
article that says don't look it up.
I'm
An article
actually
that says
interested
French
in
people are gay.
Just an article.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Somewhere.
I think it was on my uncle's blog.
Uncle Jim's blog. I'm pretty sure.
Okay, but going back to
next
what
up,
Ben said.
hooking up Zane with Jacob's uncle.
He has the swishy pants.
Does he have sushi pants? All right. Well then,
No,
We're good.
going back to what Ben said about just like
Which was
different
Yeah, I don't think
women and men.
so. I'm not sure if I want men and women to be equal. But no, no.
Okay, well, let's hear him
wait
out.
for it. Wait for it.
Zane says some outlandish statements, everyone, but
And he
There's a
means
method to his
100%.
I
madness.
mean
you
that.
you gotta like let him finish, because if you just
Which is exactly the opposite of what you're doing.
I know,
Yeah,
but
but
it's
it's
funny.
funny.
There you go.
as soon as he says them, they're hilarious. But once he actually explains them,
And it gets real
about
deep.
45%
Yeah,
of the time they
45%
actually do
of
make
the time
sense.
they actually are good.
But
Give me 50.
I'll let you.
Give me
All right,
49.
go.
47.
49.
and a half.
49.
48.
49.
48.5.
49.
Just everyone shut up and let Zane talk.
Yeah, seriously.
49 minus 1%.
Where was I?
I
Yeah.
don't
So
know.
I don't think men and women should be equal, because as what he was saying, they're built different. I mean,
That's
They're-
an
they're-
epiphany.
there's different responsibilities that
Each
go to
other.
both. Here's the thing. If you slap me in the face, I will slap you in the face probably harder, or hurt you probably more than you hurt me, right?
And that is why I'm all for the women's equal
And that's
rights
the thing, right?
movement.
Because obviously chivalry is not dead. I don't know the definition of chivalry though.
It
Did you know
Chivalry is
that
like being a knight or
most of
something.
Okay,
chivalry
chivalry is
was
But,
really
like,
interesting. The
just
origins
being
of
a
chivalry.
gentleman. Being
Just
a gentleman.
gentleman. Yeah, being a gentleman.
is
If a
almost
woman
dead.
slapped me in the face, I wouldn't slap her in the face back. But I
I would
might.
punch her in the
Johnny
stomach.
Depp.
I really, I'm kind of. Shut up.
Did you hear about Johnny Depp and his...
I don't know the whole story, but hold on.
just kidding.
I really don't know the whole story. I'm kind of split because I was
Stop.
told that you shouldn't hit women unless they're like trying to kill you or like mugging you. Right?
Yeah.
But at the same time, if I'm gonna
Probably
treat men and
shouldn't hit
women
someone that's trying to
equally,
mug you.
then if a woman like hits me in any way, I've seen videos of like a girl was crying and she grabbed the handle on a backpack. There was a kid, he put an AirPod in, he was walking away from some group, and a girl was like sobbing, and she grabbed the handle on the backpack and pulled him, and he was like, what's going on? And she started hitting him on the head, right? So he wound up and clocked her in the face, like
She probably
right in
liked
the
him.
face,
She probably
right?
liked him because that's
Lights
what women
out,
do.
and like, I'm not even kidding. 8 other guys literally tackled him and started wailing on him, but he like got out of it and started beating all of them up.
What? That man
Like, it
woke
was
up
nuts
dangerous.
because
He
it's
woke up
such a-
wanting to
I'm
like.
Holy-
split. I'm
he
split.
woke up with
Story.
black forces on. Black Air Forces.
Oh, okay. I was thinking, my head was somewhere else. My head was somewhere else. But I'm torn between what Jacob said. If a girl slapped me in the face, would I let it go for that one time or slap her in the face harder?
Okay,
Here's the thing,
Here's,
Alex.
here's a
That's
really
what I'm
good
told.
thought.
Why she slapped me in the face though?
How about the Bible when it says, turn the other cheek to everyone?
Like,
Is that
Biblically-
other cheek to? I heard a theory. Sorry, I heard not a theory, but I just heard a statement. Turning the other cheek is more to words than it is to actions.
Okay, hold on.
That's what I
But
heard.
hold-
I don't actually know.
More to words than actions, except for every example that Jesus gave. If someone forces you to walk a mile, walk 2 miles. That's totally words, right? And then when he says, give me your coat, your shirt, you give him your coat as well, because that's words, right? Because that's what they're talking about. When someone physically slaps you, let him slap the other cheek, because that's also words that he's talking about. And those, in every example, those are 100% situations in which words are being used. In
I think
those
the
examples.
No,
biggest
I
question.
meant like if I start, I should let you go.
The biggest question is which cheeks are he talking? Is he talking?
Stop!
I
Stop!
shouldn't have let him go. I should shut up. You're
Okay,
not
so
con-
Zane is like,
You're not contributing.
if you interrupt him, it gets better.
Okay.
Just don't let
Shut
Jacob
up.
finish.
Shut up. I was going. So, the thing is, if someone can attack you with words. What are you laughing at?
He's gonna spit out the
You're still
LaCroix.
laughing at.
He's gonna spit out the LaCroix again.
If someone attacks you with words, right? Turn the other cheek. And this is what I think I read some article. I don't know. But the article, but
They
Shut
and
up.
his articles.
some article or wherever I saw it or heard it, it said when it comes to more physical actions, if someone literally punches you in the face, they'll turn the other cheek. I'm not sure. I wouldn't. I would take the high road if someone attacks me with words because I'm not going to stoop down to their level. But if someone punches me in the face, depending on the reason, to your point, I would most likely defend myself and also punch them in the face.
So when Paul was unjustly
Here's-
accused of all the different
here's what I
things
think it
that
comes down
happened to
to.
him, and he got stoned, he stoned them back, right?
Was Paul
Oh,
stoned?
wait, no,
Paul wasn't
no.
stoned. It
Yes,
was
you
Stephen.
did.
No, Paul
was
got
stoned.
stoned and he survived. They thought he was
Oh,
dead.
yeah,
He
yeah, I
actually
remember that.
died and was raised back from the dead.
Well, I would say that's a different
speculation.
scenario
That's-
because
I heard he got. I thought he got hung.
Some people think that he died
was
when that happened
crucified.
and went to heaven and had a vision, but people don't actually know.
wasn't Paul.
That's all
I'm
Paul was.
thinking of the
Peter was
other-
crucified upside down.
Peter was.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Peter.
Sorry, my mistake.
Paul was beheaded.
I think what
That's
it
how he
comes down
died.
to is
Oh, y-
Jesus is
But
saying
that's
like
an extra. That's not part of the Bible.
he
Hey,
said.
shut up.
Forget the reference, but it was like it's something along the lines of when others persecute you because of me. So I feel like if it's other situations, like if it's not because of your faith, is it justified? Like if you were trying to protect your family, I would say that self-defense was 100%
Okay, in the
justified.
terms of
If a man
self-defense,
broke into my house, if a man broke into
self-defense,
my
I
house,
think,
I would
is
shoot
different.
him and kill him, or do
I-
whatever I
I was
could to
gonna-
kill him.
Yeah, if someone's just like being an idiot and smacks you,
Been hit on this.
I think I would let it go. But if he was trying to murder me, I think self-defense is different than someone in the heat of an instant getting mad at you. Because, like, you think about it, when someone attacks you trying to kill you, defending yourself, if you saw that situation, if you were looking at that from someone else's perspective, you'd say, oh, that person's defending himself. But if you looked at it in a situation where both men just got into a fight, then it would be totally different. And both people generally get in trouble in that situation in legal things.
Can we put a bookmark in that about the fight later? Continue though. I want to talk about that. You can continue.
About what?
Oh, you had nothing else
He
to
just
say?
wants to.
All right.
Okay, just go ahead.
Sorry.
I don't care.
When it comes to fights and stuff, I think that. Oh wait, did you want to
I
go?
was gonna write it
Go.
down for later. But
Okay.
Oh,
I
no,
was
it's
gonna
fine.
write it down, but you
Keep
can go.
going.
You can go.
For fights,
Paper bookmark.
like honestly,
There you go. There you go. Right there.
he's trying to catch these hands. But yeah, but basically, I think in terms of morality, it doesn't really do this, but I hold morality and legality, like what I think should be what I think is moral and what I think should be
Separation of
legal,
church and state.
are very different. I think that fights between two consenting adults should be completely legal. If they want to have a bar fight in the back and they both agree to it, like they shake on it, they should have no legal repercussions afterwards, in my opinion.
Like a duel.
Yeah, basically. Yeah.
I mean, if you're gonna like, what? Excuse me.
But how far would you go with that?
That's what I mean. Like, you'd have to like say, okay.
What if two people agree to
we're-
trade
so
drugs?
my family's gonna sue if
Drugs?
you
Okay.
kill me? But,
Well,
like,
they
if you
can't
just wanna
because
just
they
have a
legally
fight-
agreed.
Thank you. Thank you. Can I segue into something else, or should we stick with fights for now?
I have one more thing.
You want to say something
One
about
fight.
drugs, right? Because he
I
just
do.
said drugs.
I do.
Hold it.
I shouldn't have mentioned
Okay,
drugs. Zane
basically
is
what I
gonna go
wanted
on
to
a
say
rant.
with fights was, how am I forgetting? With fights, I believe what it's saying, you know, with turning their cheek. If some drunk guy, okay, it's different if it happens to like someone else you know, like say you're on a date and he smacks the girl or guy.
Oh my gosh, yeah. Or guy.
Yeah, I might.
Wow.
You might drop him. But if if a drunk guy just literally just is crazy drunk and he's like, he just slaps you guys across in the face, like, I believe you should just turn the other cheek. Because, like, okay, whether he's drunk or not, like, he's not actually trying to fight you. He just smacked you. And I know, and like I'm saying, turn the other cheek. My brother, if you're watching this, I don't always turn the other cheek when he smacks me the one time. But you should turn the other cheek. But if he's like, if someone's trying to fight you, then you have to defend yourself.
Again, I think
a certain
self-defense is different than forgiving someone for doing something that they shouldn't have done.
But if say the guy or girl or whatever punch you in
Person.
the face, if
Human being on
if
this
a
good
squirrel
green earth.
punches you in the face,
Oh, wait, start
A
that over.
squirrel?
if a squirrel punches you in the
A
face,
squirrel?
defend yourself.
I would.
But that
punch
doesn't
it.
give you the
Crush
right.
its head. It's
No,
a
I'm-
squirrel.
We have dominion over animals.
If
I
you
would
get
kill
punched
it.
in the face, defend yourself, but don't literally kill the person.
Why?
That's not justified. Maybe if they're trying to kill you, and that's the only solution, but I doubt it is. You can always like run, but like don't seek violence.
Someone
Don't
slaps you in the face, you literally just pull a gun out and shoot
don't
them in
put
the
on
head.
your Black Air Forces, waking up dangerous,
Black
looking for
Forces.
fights, going to bars late at night,
You
and
see.
egging on someone
Black
purposely
Forces.
to get punched in the face.
It's
just
not
so you can kill someone.
justified until you get a really good lawyer.
I'll be back, boys.
That's not how it works. That is not
In
how
a
it
court of
works.
law, yes, it is.
Well, that's not how that
All right,
is how
we're
it
talking
works, but
about
that's not how it
morality.
should work.
Yes, it
That's
is.
not how it should work.
You should be able to lie in court, and as long as you get away with it, you should have no legal repercussions. Butterdog is gone.
I mean, what do you think OJ did?
Exactly. I'm fine with OJ. I mean, he shouldn't have killed his wife, but like
He didn't kill her. The glove didn't.
the glove didn't fit. Yeah, but
I
like
gotta reconsider my friendships. I'm having a bit of trouble right here.
I am
Oh, we're
perfectly
secretly
fine.
gonna kill Ben tonight. That's what we're segueing into.
I am fine that he got away with
Smooth
it because he
transition.
just had a really good legal team, right? Like
Why are you fine with people getting away with murder?
because they were good enough to get away with murder. If you can
Morally, that's not right.
no, not
Morally?
morally. Yeah, morally, legally, yes, I'm
Oh,
legally
okay.
good with them getting away with it. Like if you
Well,
can
what can the
cheese
law
system,
say? What does the law even have on them?
You can't be tried twice in a court of law.
Exactly.
I mean, you can
Okay.
appeal it and go to a higher court, but like you can't like be tried by again. Like you can't be like, yeah, let's do that again. Like once the judge says it,
Found guilty. Can we do that again?
once he smacks the gavel.
Restart. Reverse Uno. I
Roll
don't think
play
that-
back. Play
I
that
don't-
back.
Well, that's the reason why they have it once, because they don't want people to be constantly in a state of court, because they're expensive, and they don't want
Yeah.
people
Well, I
just
think they
wasting
do
their
want
life
them.
away to try and stay free.
Lawyers do want you wasting your money. To be honest.
Okay,
Yeah.
the lawyers do,
That's why I kind of want to become
but,
a lawyer.
Like yeah.
so that you can waste other people's time and money.
No, I'm not wasting it.
When do you
I'm,
transition
I'm
that's
spending
true.
it on myself.
from lawyers?
Depends
Like
on
when
how
do
good
you
you are.
like? Isn't one of the like you have to pay for textbooks, room and board, your soul if you're gonna be a lawyer? Like when do you pay for all that?
Huh?
If
Lawyers
you wanna
have
be a lawyer,
souls.
like when do
really?
you give your soul? You're just not born with.
You
one.
don't give your soul away.
As I said, lawyers don't have souls. They just
You just
They're
wring
not
it out
there.
like a wet rag of all of
Yeah.
its joy and morale
If I see my lawyer with Black Air Forces on,
with black forces.
yeah, I
don't
don't,
know
know
why
why you're
that's
laughing.
so
about
funny.
That doesn't even make sense to me. But if I see the other lawyer, I mean,
Uh,
like with Black Air Forces on, and he looks dangerous, it doesn't matter if I'm walking away winning that case. I'm gonna get killed.
would you say the
I'm gonna
same
get
if he
how
was
the heck
wearing
is this
white Air
conversation
Forces?
going?
No, because white Air Forces are for basic teenage girls.
Yeah, the stereotype is that Black Air Forces are commonly associated with dangerous people.
Well, the only one who sees the problem here.
It's not racism.
He
It's
said
not
the word.
'cause of
He said the
color.
word. It's racist.
It
It's not
was
racist.
a stereotype.
For
Uh,
any
Pants
race.
are not
If
a
any
race.
if anyone that wears
Yeah.
Black
color
Air Forces
of your pants
they
is not a race.
yeah, that's racist assuming that.
It was a joke, but you know.
You think?
I don't think it was a joke.
Guys, black people don't wear shoes. Those are their feet. They're born with them. You can't change them.
Okay.
If you're born with black
Can
Air
I segue
Forces,
into
need to cut
drugs?
that out. We need
Can
to
I,
cut
Yes.
that out.
can I
No, we
segue
don't.
into drugs?
Yeah,
All right.
away from the feet.
How
feet.
immoral are drugs? I'll change the question.
Immortal. How immortal are drugs?
You become immortal.
You
when
can
eat.
live
and we
forever.
had-
That's
we
why
had
they don't
this
want you to use them.
We had this conversation. Well, I did with Zach. I shouldn't have said names.
Zapple.
it's fine. He doesn't
That's
care.
fine. That's fine. But
Zach
I
from
would
One
say-
Direction.
yes.
Yeah.
Is there a
Generic
Zach
white
in One
guy.
Direction?
I
think
don't
so.
know.
My teacher talks
He
about
would
it.
know.
My teacher talks about him.
Shut up.
Okay.
I lost my train of thought because of you. Yeah,
Why do you talk about One Direction?
I would say
You know.
I don't know how I feel about
No.
hard drugs like meth and cocaine. Heroin is. Don't even get me started on that. It is
Lovely.
so
Let-
good.
let-
No, heroin is horrible. Cocaine and meth, like those three, the top tier, really bad ones.
Let me-
I would say make illegal. I don't see a problem with marijuana. I really don't.
All right, let me talk about
Maybe.
this.
Legal.
I think marijuana should be legal.
If you were
Recreational or medical?
Both.
recreational,
Okay,
yeah,
that's-
both. All right, here's the thing, right? I see every substance on an equal playing field as alcohol, right? Alcohol isn't bad until you get completely like drunk and you lose your like
Or you destroy your liver. by the
yeah,
way.
destroy your
We're
liver.
also going back to dependency. If you think
That's
about
what I was
it.
just about to say.
Hey, look at that.
I
Full
was
circle.
just listening to
Yeah, I'm not gonna let you get sidetracked. He was first.
church
Yeah.
sermon.
Write it down.
Put a bookmark
just
in
keep
there.
going,
Write it down.
please. All right. So it's like if you get drunk and lose your like self-control, that's when it becomes bad. Just drinking alcohol isn't going to do anything to you.
And if you get drunk and die because of it, that's also pretty bad.
yeah, you shouldn't do things that are like so self-destructive to your body. But like, let's say weed. If you're just like smoking a blunt to just like relax, basically, and you aren't getting so high that you get drunk.
Those are drugs. LOLXD.
Yeah, shut up.
But if you aren't getting like so high that you're losing your ability to properly control yourself and think, I don't think there's a problem with that, even with hard drugs. While it may be, from a legal standpoint, I think all of it should be legal. Maybe put an age cap on it like they do with alcohol and cigarettes. But I think it all should be legal. Morally, I don't think there's a very good argument for most hard drugs. I say there might be an argument for something like cocaine if you're using it almost as a stimulant. Because I know that people, basically, there are a few different types of. Do you understand what a stimulant is? Sorry.
It's
Yeah,
drugs.
basically like stuff like the
Viagra.
we're cutting that.
Why?
Well-
That's the one thing we got.
All right,
Come on,
fine,
come on,
fine,
come on.
fine. We'll keep it in. Okay, we're just keeping we're keeping everything in this episode. So basically, the most common stimulant is caffeine. That's what everybody has. Honestly, I don't know how caffeine isn't illegal. Like,
I know caffeine is not good for you at all.
I don't know how it's not illegal. Like, honestly, like
Starbucks.
they lucked out because caffeine, like, what caffeine does is it stimulates your brain. It wakes you up. That's
Doesn't
the same
physically
thing.
kill you though.
Yeah, well, crack doesn't either until you take way too much. You could die from
That's it.
caffeine.
You can overdose on anything, dude, except
Somebody
for like
tell.
Advil.
Somebody
You can overdose on freaking
Somebody
water.
tell the girls.
That's true. That's true.
Somebody tell the people in Hartville, specifically the girls in Hartville.
What?
Because there's the Starbucks.
Oh my gosh,
dude! Don't get me started on
I don't
Starbucks.
even
Caffeine is
understand.
a drug. Technically, people that
Yeah,
drink coffee are drug
caffeine-
addicts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Caffeine is a drug, just like all the other drugs. I see them the same way. There was a story. There's Colombian, I want to say, I think it's Colombian, but there were coal miners down in South America, and
Oh, I heard
since
about this.
caffeine and coffee beans and stuff like that was like almost like a more expensive luxury item down there, they couldn't get easily, like they didn't have easy access to caffeine in the early 2000s. So what they did have easy access to was, well, the crack and cocaine export was from right there.
Yeah.
So they'd snort a few lines of coke in the morning, head off to work, and
There
they
you go.
built up a tolerance like we build up a tolerance to caffeine.
Yeah.
And they're fine. It's not like they're getting high off of it. They're just doing it to wake themselves up in the morning. It's like their morning coffee we have over
Yeah.
here. It's no different.
I don't see that.
Sorry, can you
What,
lean a little
cocaine?
bit closer to your mic? It didn't pick it up.
Sorry. I don't think that should be something that's like illegal.
What Coke?
No, I just meant like for that purpose, but kind of what I wanted to go into is like the dependency thing. But what I had a church sermon actually just this Sunday, and what it was talking about was alcohol, drugs, all that stuff. And it's not unbiblical to do those things. Like, obviously, you know, they had alcohol back in Jesus' day, watered wine. They smoked marijuana, the Pharisees.
Yeah,
The Israelites.
the
did.
Israelites smoked marijuana. Yeah.
Israelites did.
The Bible does not necessarily condone that, though. Just because they did something doesn't mean that we are supposed to.
Well, I think that like the way that they used it, it was a ceremonial way. They burned it as a incense, basically.
Yeah, but
I-
my point is that in the Bible, it doesn't necessarily say, "Thou shalt go smoke marijuana."
It also doesn't say that you shouldn't.
Here's the thing about marijuana.
So it's kind of it's a middle ground kind of thing.
Why do you think that something like marijuana for recreational use is bad? It's because our governments have told us it's bad since I don't know what, back in the 40s, the only reason marijuana was outlawed in the first place, and you can fact check me on this, there was, but basically, there was like the department that was coming up with the substances to ban couldn't find anything else to ban at this point because nothing was being like really created. The drug trade wasn't very active. So they were like, crap, we need something. So they were like, they looked across the border and it's all the Mexicans smoking blunts and joints and stuff, smoking marijuana along with tobacco. And they were like, oh, well, this marijuana, we can just ban that. It gets people high, doesn't it? So they would like throw a bunch of propaganda up about how like these Mexicans were smoking marijuana and how it was doing all this horrible stuff to them. And that's the only reason it's banned in the first place. It's because a government like office was going to
Wait,
go
the government
out.
is corrupt?
Oh, really?
No way.
Wait, no.
Nah.
There's no
I
way.
can't trust
There's no
you.
way.
I can't
LOL,
trust you
JK,
on that.
JK.
Sorry, I'm just a
I say
conspiracy
we
theorist.
report him.
I think we should throw him in jail.
Report me to the COVID police, please.
Yes.
Okay, what I was saying though was, my church was saying that. No, I know Zane, you think about like churches and stuff. Not.
Oh, no, I rescind what I said there. I actually thought about it afterward. That was more of a
Well-
Catholicism thing.
Yeah, and churches still do that.
Yeah.
But they were showing a scripture, and what he was saying was he was using alcohol for example. Don't like it's fine to do it like in Ecclesiastes it talks about food and drink, like that's our thing that we do on earth, but like don't. I saw the thing. It's like this is kind of it's a story. So say someone is in a hotel room for a night and you're like you use your friend, you're both staying in a hotel, you're hanging out, you say goodnight, he goes to his room and you go to your room, wake up next morning,
You're cuddling.
you heard a bunch of like noises in the night. It was weird, not cuddling, and you go in the room, his door's a different color. So you're like, okay, that's weird. Knock on the door. He's like, come in. You
Painted his door overnight.
No, you open the door, and the room's
could you?
different. The furniture's different. There's a bigger TV on the wall. The bathroom's all redone. The kitchen's all redone. And you're like, what did you do?
Had
And
a
he's
lot
like,
of money.
I changed the bathroom. I, made it nice. He's like, we're only here for a day. And the guy's like, I know. He spent all this time and all the money, like, could have been doing other stuff like sleeping or something, changing his hotel room to what he wanted, even though they were going to leave. And this is the crazy part. It's like that's what we do here on Earth because we know we're only here. Yeah, 80 years is a long time, but compared to eternity, like 80 years is not that long when you're talking about literally forever.
Mhm.
That doesn't end. So it's like, don't focus all your time on this earth, focusing it all on earth. Like if you're going to don't spend all the 80, I like to say 80 years because, don't spend your whole 80 years of life on earth focusing on just these 80 years. Like, yeah, raise a family or if that's what you want to do, obviously get a
weed.
job, but don't put all your thought and focus into it. Like, be aware that, you're going to have to start, reading your Bible, accepting Jesus Christ as your Lord and Savior, because that's going to determine your eternity.
That would help.
Yeah.
Generally, that would.
But, don't put all your time focusing on, if you know that there's a eternity after, why would you focus on making this 80 years the best you can and just ignoring the eternity? We know it's going to happen. So that kind of goes into alcohol, marijuana. Yeah, enjoy it, do it if you want, but don't be a slave to it, and don't make it this crazy cool thing and have a big parties and then you just spend all your money away on stuff like this.
Don't waste your money on
Like,
addictions.
I don't think I personally don't want to do drugs or smoke or drink alcohol. I don't see anything wrong with it, but what I do see wrong with it is being a slave to it, making it an idol.
Distracting.
It's distracting.
Oh.
Don't be distracted by it.
What I would say is I feel like for me when I talk about drugs and stuff, I feel like the average like drug user is basically doing drugs to try to like find an escape, get pleasure, or just like, you know, they just want to get away for a while. When I'm like the main thing that I focus on, like I don't want to do drugs that are just gonna get me high. Like I don't even see that big of a appeal to stuff like weed, especially dangerous drugs. I don't want to do anything like that. But when it comes to like stimulants, like caffeine and other legal stimulants that I'm already taking, like take sometimes, stuff like taurine and stuff like that, it's like if it's performance enhancing, like what?
Wait, are you talking about like steroids?
No.
You said like,
well they
We're
kind
not
of
talking about Viagra.
That's what I was
He
telling you.
keeps on wanting to come back to Viagra. We're
No,
not
I-
talking about
no.
Viagra.
I meant testosterone, like, because he said like, what'd you say?
performance enhancing.
enhancing, like
Okay.
building muscle. I meant like steroids, like for
Yeah,
gym
okay.
users. That's what I
Steroids
meant.
are different than stimulants. They're basically focused on like supercharging your muscles to grow faster.
Well, you said performance enhancing.
Yeah.
That's why I got
Stimulants,
okay.
performance enhancing stimulants are more aimed at your brain. So like
It's more of a focus thing.
yeah, focus.
Yeah.
It's stuff like, and I mean some stimulants, because they have the opposite effect on people, are legal in like medical cases. Stuff like Adderall they give to people with severe ADHD because it has the opposite effect. It basically calms them down. But I personally think that stuff like that, within a reasonable like amount, like in a reasonable dosage, should be legal for the rest of the population, because just having caffeine legal as the main big one and not having the rest of them is kind of dumb, in my opinion.
It's hard because like alcohol is like one thing. Like, you know, there's a ton of alcoholics and alcohol's not illegal, but just like with all those drugs and stuff, the hard part is like so many people, like, yeah, it may not be wrong with doing it, but the amount of people that are already addicted aren't going to get addicted from it. It's hard to find where you can like kind of subdue that so people don't ruin themselves. That's
Making more drugs legal, I think that, and we've already seen this in places like, I can't remember exactly where it was. It was in a European country. I think it was either Switzerland or Sweden or somewhere.
It was probably
But-
Sweden.
It might have been Switzerland, actually. Basically, they were having a huge heroin problem. So it's not like they decriminalized heroin, but what they did was they made it so that you could come to these like addiction centers actually wanting to get help, and you wouldn't be like prosecuted for having heroin, right? And they would actually had a government program set up so that you could go in, and the way to get off of an addiction, because if you just go cold turkey and you're seriously addicted and reliant on something,
that's
that will
horrible.
mess you
Dangerous.
up. Exactly.
It's
You can
really
actually, it actually can be worse for you than
Yeah.
doing the drugs. So they basically got clean heroin, clean needles, all that stuff. So like you wouldn't have the horrible negative side effects. And they would come in, schedule appointments, and get less and less dose, like less and less in their dose every time they came. And they would eventually just get them off of it. And they were able to get off of it without fear of the government throwing them in jail for doing heroin. And I would argue that a lot of people nowadays, especially in like low income neighborhoods, they don't want to work with the government, basically, especially areas like the police force, because
why would you?
Exactly. So I think that if
It's a
they
lose-lose
actually gave them an
situation
outlet,
almost.
if they gave them an outlet to somewhere to go to like stop being addicted and get help, they would actually be able to go get help.
How do those addiction centers work? Like when you're addicted to something, like.
It's like the
So they-
opposite of
It's the opposite
the
of what you're
treatment
doing.
therapy.
Yeah.
Well, I know
You
that.
start with small
yeah.
doses and then work until it doesn't have an effect.
But
You
what
start
Jacob
with larger
was
doses
saying-
and just
Is that what they do? Like, because they have those centers in America, like not the drug one, but like they have the addiction centers when you're
Yeah.
addicted to something. When you
But
go to those in America, what do they do?
It's more like a therapy session, almost. It's
Don't
like
they
people.
just
It's
cut
more
you
like
off cold
counseling.
turkey, and then they
Almost,
just
yeah,
counsel
pretty
you through
much.
it?
Yeah, they just counsel you through it.
Hmm.
And for the severe addicts, they don't do that, but that really just doesn't work for the majority of people, even with small
'Cause they
addictions.
just go back to it.
Exactly, they relapse.
I'm not really going to comment on how the government has to do with drugs because it's a long and horrible
Do you-
debate that I
CIA,
really don't
Ronald-
Is
have
it
much
only
to say.
drugs,
Ronald
or do you
Reagan.
not want to trash talk the government?
No, I'm fine with trash talking. the
Okay, good,
government.
because I love trash talking the government.
Who
dude.
doesn't?
You know, it was great when Ronald Reagan sold crack to the inner cities and
Let's
inner
go,
city
dude.
communities
Yes,
in the
let's
60s.
go.
Did you not hear? Oh,
Let's
okay.
go,
There was a CIA operation where they basically. You know how the U.S. government. I don't know if you know this. Most of the terrorist organizations in the Middle East are straight up created by the U.S. They make a terrorist organization.
That's not even a joke.
No, they make a terrorist
I've never
organization
heard that before.
to get rid of another
surprise me.
terrorist organization, and then that terrorist organization gets rid of the last one, and they replace them. So they make another one.
Is that because they give the weapons? To,
Yes.
Like,
They
they're
fund.
not like, okay, we're gonna create a terrorist organization.
No, but they fund them.
No
Directly
country
fund
is
them.
perfect.
Yeah.
And
And
to
they
say that a
needed-
country is perfect, you would be lying. Even
Yeah.
Israel, which was created by God, was not perfect.
They were not.
Israel
And,
very
like,
much not
th-
perfect.
They did a lot of
Israel.
bad things. But my point is that, like, in the Bible, it tells you you're not supposed to talk bad about your own leaders. We can.
Where does it
I
say that?
will.
You know?
I don't remember where. I'm sorry.
I would say,
but
like
it does say
history.
that, and I know that for certain. I've read it before. Anyway, my thing is that
kill you. Basically, that's why you just quit trash talking them.
we're not supposed to talk badly about our leaders, and I won't do it, but I will be more than ready to tell you that our country has made mistakes. And I think that that's another problem with society today. Telling someone that they're wrong is different than insulting them personally.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that we should be very open-minded about the fact that our country has made mistakes, but I think we should speak about them in a respectful way that's not literally insulting the government. Because the Bible tells us, another thing that the Bible tells us that I don't have on me because I didn't bring my Bible, I'm sorry, was that, yeah, I am a sinner.
You want me to try to pull it up or something?
I have my
I'll
phone.
try to find it.
Okay.
I'll try to find it.
God puts everyone in power that is in power. For example, I can tell you where it is. It's when Jesus talked to Pontius Pilate. You would not have this power unless God gave it to you.
I actually do know that verse.
Yes.
I know what you're
So
talking about.
we know that everyone in power was put into power by God. Heck, Hitler was put into power by God. Did he make mistakes? Heck yeah.
I think mistakes is an understatement.
Yeah, but
He made a couple bad moves.
he,
Maybe.
He had a couple bad decisions.
looking at it, he could have played his cards a little bit better. But my point
You gotta
is,
throw the whole deck away.
is
though.
that like you have to respect the fact that God put them there for a reason. And even though that they may have done horrible things, it's not our place to play God. And
Well-
we also need to say in a respectful manner, you're wrong, but also say, I respect you because this is a position that you have.
So, the thing I'll say about that is, number one, until I genuinely know that that is a verse, not saying, not to bash your leaders, and not that I.
Hold on one second.
Well, I'm not even gonna lie. Right now, I can't fully believe you since I don't know it's actually true. So
no,
as
that's
of right
fine. I
now, at
understand
least,
that.
I'm gonna keep trash talking the
Here's
government.
here's what I'll say
And
about
before you go on. I'm
trash
sorry.
talking. Okay, go ahead.
I'm
go
sorry.
ahead.
I have
The thing about. Oh, don't lose my train of thought now. Oh no.
Okay, Jacob, what were you
Rat.
saying?
No, I got it. I'm so
There you
sorry.
go.
God has put all the leaders of every country into power. I agree with that. But just because that happens doesn't mean good things will happen.
Mm.
I.e., Hitler. Again, couple mistakes. So just
two.
because
One or
just
two.
One
just
couple.
because he puts them into power doesn't mean that things will be good or that they are good. But to your point, he does put them in power. So
I mean,
Here-
it's
Alright.
in first. It's in first.
So, as far as like trash talking the government goes, I feel like what I was going to go into wasn't really trash talking. It's just history. Yeah, it's pointing out a lot of the bad stuff that our government has done, but even criticism for the government, I wouldn't say is bad. You can criticize the government for doing things that are wrong, just like people criticize the Pharisees just like Jesus criticized the Pharisees back in their day. Just being like personally insulting people like leaders, I think is where that comes in. That verse comes in.
That's a good point.
But anyways, are we ready to go back to the government selling crack to inner city neighborhoods?
Oh, yeah,
I
let him go first, Dan.
Okay. What I was gonna say was, crap.
Remember? Do you need a?
No, actually,
Retrace
I do kind
steps?
of remember. When it comes to like insulting and stuff, I I don't remember the verse, but we've all heard it. It was, you know, before you point out someone else's mistakes,
Oh yeah.
you plank in your own
plank
eye.
in
Yeah,
the-
planking your own
So
eye.
like, but not
I've never sold anyone in the inner city crack.
Just
Just saying.
out of
I checked
But,
my
you know,
own plank, and
before you-
it's not there.
before we criticize, we go out, and this isn't really the government, honestly. But before we go out and criticize other people, I mean, let's look at ourselves first. Like, if you're gonna criticize a person about A, B, and C, you gotta look at yourself and be like, what about X, Y, Z? You can't. If you're perfect, sure. Jesus was perfect, and I just want to say he didn't go out and criticize people.
Yes, he
Theoretically-
did.
Yeah, he did.
Yes, he did.
Well, he didn't like insult them.
Not personal
I mean,
insulting, but he
not
criticized
personally,
He
them.
told
but
him
he
that-
insulted
he's
them.
like, hey, you're sinning. Stop it.
Yeah.
But he's not.
No, he straight up insulted people. The Pharisees, dude.
Oh well.
I mean, he called them hypocrites.
I mean,
Stuff
and
like
again,
that.
he
But
wasn't like,
I don't think that-
Jerry, you suck.
I don't
Tim, you're
think.
bad.
I wouldn't say that he's insulting them.
They were insulted. Maybe the goal wasn't to
They
insult,
were
it was to
insulted
correct.
because truth hurts, and they didn't think he was God. So they basically they just saw this blasphemous guy calling out these outlandish statements. Which, if someone claims, back then he's God, and or say someone goes up to you and be like, Zane, you're a hypocrite. Everything you say is wrong, or something that would be have, like, say you value yourself as a very nice person. And someone goes up to you and say, Zane, you're the meanest person I know. And then a bunch of your friends back him up. You're going to feel bad, and you're going to feel like you just got insulted.
Generally.
Yeah, but you see my point.
Yeah,
So,
I see what you're saying.
I wouldn't say he's insulting them, but kind of.
I would say his goal wasn't to insult them, but they were insulted.
Because in their sinful nature, they.
Yeah.
But.
Also, the truth hurts, so does a whip. I want to add on when he literally whipped people.
Jesus
I love
did not
that
whip
story.
people.
Yes, he did.
What?
He made
He made a whip. He flipped tables in the temple and literally made a whip and whipped people out of the temple.
Yeah.
Like,
Hey, sometimes that's what I wanted to say. With the leaders, God putting people in power, that it's not always good.
Mhm.
God sent the Jewish people to Babylon, like in shackles and in slavery for like 70 years.
yeah.
Sometimes the truth hurts, but not the truth
And
hurts.
so
but,
does slavery.
you gotta learn that God's our father, and you gotta punish your kid when they do wrong, because how are they gonna learn? But so yeah, I mean, we gotta look at the plank in our own eye, because like if we're doing X, Y, and Z, we shouldn't be like criticizing someone about. I mean, you want to help other people, but don't think that you're perfect too. Which I think both sides of the political spectrum and everyone
Yeah.
nowadays, we insult each other.
Nowadays.
I noticed that. Go
We,
ahead.
did I say that in a country accent?
Nowadays.
Nowadays, we insult each other okay, we insult
Totally.
each other,
Yeah.
and we just think, oh, they are completely wrong. I'm gonna say I'm a Republican and you're a Democrat, Zane.
Okay.
I'm right
this.
literally about everything 100% of the time. You're wrong. You're going to hell. Everyone hates you. I don't know how you could think that. You're rigging everything. Basically, just leave the country because you suck. And
What if Zane agrees?
everything that you say is awful? Just disagree with me. And just basically, what would you
dog.
say? No, what would you say if you were like a Democrat or something and you were like far?
I was a Democrat? Or
Li-
if I was
hold
a
on.
Republican?
Because I was Republican.
Okay, if you...
You're racist.
Wait. If
No, okay. You know what? Let me just. What I'm trying to say is
You're
we
racist
hate
against
each
my
other.
political views.
We think both sides think they are 100% right, 100% of the time, and that is not right. And yeah, I don't care what side you're on. That's something we need to work on, and obviously I need to work on that myself too, because I have some big planks in my own life.
Another
Hold up,
problem
hold
with
up, hold up,
politics,
hold up,
I
hold up,
think,
That's a note for me.
is
Wait, I need to put a bookmark in. Put a bookmark
so
in
much
the
going
two-party
on.
system. I want to talk about the two-party
Oh.
system.
Okay,
That's good, that's good.
wait. Okay,
Hold on.
So continue.
Ben.
Okay. One thing that I find is a really big problem is when you say that you are siding with a specific political party, that everyone instantly assumes that you believe in the most extreme versions
Yes.
of that
Yeah, I do.
political party.
Yeah.
That's not true. both left and right are corrupt. I'm just going to say there are problems to both sides of the political spectrum. And so when you immediately assume that a person agrees with everything on the agenda of one side, you're making a really bold assumption because that's not true. Like, even some of the leaders of some sides of the political spectrum do not agree with everything that their party says.
And they really shouldn't.
And you shouldn't.
Yeah.
Some
mean-
people are like really crazy about like maybe one thing in particular, and they can be wrong about that. But that doesn't mean that everything that they believe is entirely what their political party says.
I feel like at the moment, like the kind of the situation I'm in, and I feel like a lot of other people our age is legally, like where I want the country to go government-wise, law-wise. Here with Zane.
Sorry, I was
That
feeling
actually scared me.
feeling like Jesus.
I do not side with either the Democrats or the Republicans because I feel like they're both just going for more government power and that's all they want. I would side, honestly, more with the Libertarian Party. Not morally,
Jojo.
but yeah, honestly.
Wait.
Joe
But,
Jorgensen.
like-
Joe Jorgensen, yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
is that the one guy that says the return of the
That's
Frogs
the
Gay?
girl.
That's a girl. That's a girl.
Oh.
No,
Yeah,
that's Alex Jones that said they're
That's
trying.
Alex
to
Jones. Alex Jones is
Alex
Return of the
Jones
Frogs
is-
Gay.
I don't like the. Oh yeah, I don't like the chemicals they're putting in the water. They're turning the freaking frogs gay. It's one of the best clips ever.
Would you agree with that,
Never
Dan?
heard that
Just
one?
real quick, before we go back to Jacob, would you agree that the chemicals they're putting in the water are turning the frogs gay?
I've never seen a gay frog.
Then again, have you ever seen a straight
They
frog?
blend
Have
in.
you seen a frog having sex?
Have you ever
Yes.
have you ever seen a
Whoa,
straight
whoa, whoa,
Wait,
whoa,
wait.
No,
whoa.
they're-
Hold
they
up,
were men.
hold up. Something is happening. Somebody talk.
Hello?
Okay.
Gotta stop real quick.
Have some ASMR.
Sorry,
guess
we just had
Drinking
some
drinks.
technical difficulties. We're back with the two-party system. Ben, I think you were talking.
Was it you?
I don't know.
I forgot this was
We'll just go
being
with you.
I forgot
You-
this was recorded
you were
on my
talking
camera.
about JoJo.
If, all right, so basically what I was saying is I honestly would side more with the modern Libertarian Party because they're one of the only parties actually out there that wants to reduce government control. That's one of the biggest things for me. I believe America has always been, land of the free and should stay land of the free, but it's really not anymore. We're trying to be like every other European country, and while it might work for them, it doesn't work for most of us. So, like, if I wanted that, I would move out to one of those types of countries with a
Yeah.
more
I've,
controlling government.
Thing just to say on that real quickly.
Yeah.
I heard from one of my teachers. He said that
At our school?
yeah. She said that the reason communism doesn't work is because it would require a perfect world.
Yeah.
And the reason capitalism tends to work, it's working and it works better.
Based off of the fall.
Yeah, it's based off of sin. It works.
Can you write down who wrote that, please?
Yeah, it
I
works
actually wanna know.
because of sin, because people want to get money. Like, not saying money's bad, but people have,
The love of money is.
yeah, the love of people have a lust for money. And,
Communism is a great idea. It just doesn't work.
capitalism works in our sinful world.
Mhm.
So that just plays off your.
What I'm going to
It's
say
just-
is most of the modern
biblical worldview
capitalists.
versus a non-biblical worldview.
Yeah. My problem with
It's
a lot
based
of
off of the fact that because a lot of people that aren't Christians say that humans are mostly good, and then most people that are not most people, some people that are Christians, where the Bible tells us that people are mostly evil.
Not even
Capitalism.
mostly.
Yeah.
We are,
People are
we are wicked fallen
completely-
creatures. Yeah.
I
So
suck.
capitalism is based off of the fact it plays into the traits of a person being as a selfish and as miserly as possible, which works.
Miserly, like the
Freaking Scrooge.
Eisnerly.
like the heat miser.
I'm Mr. Heat.
Shut up. I don't want to be talking about
Trying to
this.
say something biblical right here.
Yeah, I'm talking about the Bible.
I'm Mr. Big Chunk.
Okay, I'm leaving.
Where were you, Ben?
Goodbye.
Where were you?
Bane of Existence, sponsored by Arizona.
No, it's
Arnold
not.
Palmer.
No, it's not. Don't say that.
We're not sponsored.
Don't say
We are
that.
not.
Don't say that.
LaCroix.
What?
You guys are good to us if you want to
I don't know,
sponsor us.
something.
We would love that. We would love that.
Yes, or LaCroix.
He plays golf.
What?
Ben,
Not-
mini
not-
golfing. Avid
Sometime.
mini golfer over here.
He was talking about something biblical. Do you remember what it was? Because if not, I'm going to talk about immigration.
Go ahead.
Immigration? Cool.
Ooh, immigration.
Most people. Now, you might be included in this. I'll start with you.
He's an immigrant.
Yes.
Technically, we all are.
I
but
wasn't planning
yeah,
on
keep
outing
going.
him as an immigrant, but yes, now that it happened,
Come on, guys. Don't call ice on me. Okay.
What?
what is the reason you wouldn't want immigration?
I'm fine with legal immigration,
Okay.
not illegal immigration. Immigration is
Illegal
Why not
immigration is
illegal
bad for
immigration?
government.
Other
Well,
than the fact that it's illegal.
I don't know. From a capitalist standpoint, I'm fine with illegal immigration, but here's the thing. What do we want? I'm kind of torn between two things. If I went, you see, looking at kind of like you've seen the globalist agenda of people, they want countries to rely on each other. That's why they want to ship all of our cheap labor over to China, because they don't want everybody to be self-reliant. If we want a self-reliant country, which is what people like Trump are aiming for and a lot of Republicans, if you want a like strong country with a strong sense of nationalism, illegal immigrants are going to take all of the basically low-level jobs, and all the other jobs are just going to be shipped overseas. So the American people aren't going to be left with any like low-level jobs to actually entry jobs to go into. But from a capitalist standpoint, frankly, Mexican workers trying to come over and actually provide for their family are probably going to work harder and work better than some single person from America growing up in luxury. Like,
Well, I've seen like
that
stats.
want some low-level job just to try to scrape by. Like, I would much rather have immigrants that are actually working for something than just some like college kid that's just trying to make a living who's grown up in luxury, because they aren't going to have a work ethic. The American work ethic has died.
Legal
That's why
immigration should
Absolutely.
be encouraged.
Mhm.
But I think one of the problems is that legal immigration hasn't been encouraged.
Exactly.
So our government right now, immigrating into the U.S. legally is really, really hard.
It takes like there's stories like 10 years,
yeah.
15
Yeah.
years later.
It's literally the worst.
As far
And
as
so
the,
it's encouraging illegal immigration, which causes
Exactly.
problems. Good immigration causes benefits, and bad immigration, illegal, causes huge problems because it brings in the kind of people that we don't want into our country. Because if you're not willing to go through the legal system, it's either because you're impatient, because that's the way it is right now, or you're just a sketchy lowlife that can't get through the system. So if
Cringe.
we make the legal
System
immigration
fast.
system better,
yeah.
then we'll have better workers coming into America, and it'll strengthen our country. But that's not happening.
Part of the problem is we're kind of running out of space for people in America. We have lots of space out west
Iowa.
that we could still use, but like as far as the big cities and stuff, there's no more space for people.
what
we couldn't
are
have
we
we
gonna do?
couldn't have
New
any more
York?
mass. Yeah, we couldn't
Oh
have
my
any more mass
gosh.
immigration like there
New
was.
York is packed.
Mm-hmm.
It's
It's
crazy.
Did
unbelievable.
you hear about like the
I know.
countries in the like Asia, like China and that?
Have you heard about India?
What about it?
India is the most populated country
Oh my gosh,
in the
India
world.
has like
Okay.
1.3 billion people,
Yeah,
doesn't it?
here's the thing. Here's the
You have
thing.
a billion in your country.
America needs to ally heavily with India right now,
Gosh, yeah.
because they've hit their technological revolution. They're starting to,
Are they?
they've
We're
they've
moving
opened
into
up.
that, dude.
You've
But they're
have you seen
there, like,
stuff like
cities
we saw for just one small example? T-Series went and became the biggest YouTube channel. Probably some of that may or may not have been.
PewDiePie.
Yeah,
It might have
may-
been rigged.
Crap.
may or may not have been them buying subs, but still, they have that many people in India. That wasn't just all fake subs. Like, that was actual people subscribing to T-Series.
Yeah.
People are getting phones. People are getting access to the internet. That's why Facebook, Google, and Microsoft are all basically fighting to try to get a share of this Indian population. And it's funny, this is kind of a side thing, but you look at companies like Apple, who are really marketed at the rich West. Apple's main thing, like you see Apple over here, is like, oh yeah, you want an iPhone because you want to be in the in crowd. You want to have the special first party features, basically. You want to be in the ecosystem, right? Apple is almost like Apple is one of those fake luxury devices, I would say.
Yeah.
They're not really luxury devices, but they market them so well that people think they are. They take that over to India, where the average person isn't making much, and they look at iOS, and the Indian people are already pretty technologically set with people just because they've used so much like time with computers. I feel like the average Indian would be much smarter with a laptop than the average American, because we use it more just like, oh yeah, we want our entertainment, we want our tools. They have to work with what they have, so they know the ins and outs of everything.
Yeah.
Apple brings iOS over there, and they look at between iOS with iPhones that are like $700 and Androids with a phone that are like that's $200 and can do in their eyes do more than the iPhone. Why are they going to buy it?
Yeah.
That's why Apple has struggled so heavily in an area like India, because the people just don't want luxury devices. They want good working devices that they can use.
I like Apple devices, but Apple as a company is not very
Kind
good.
of
I don't
hog.
I don't like a lot of their policies.
Yeah.
They're
Hey,
pretty.
what I don't
I
like,
haven't read any.
you kind of, the way the media and like society
don't
nowadays
read every word in the terms
America,
and conditions.
like I don't like Apple as a company. I liked Steve Jobs. Well, I never knew him. I don't even know if I was alive.
He's dead.
Apple as a
When
company is pretty cool. You know, they use Chinese slave labor.
I
the
don't like
iPhones.
the Apple company. Like the people,
Gets the job done.
like the people like that are in
All
charge of the
Chinese
company.
labor
All they
slave
do is
labor?
just want money, and not like
It's
that.
almost like big
a love
corporations
for
wanna get
money.
bigger.
A love for money, and like I don't like my phone. Like the only reason I like it is because I like the emojis, but
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Sound like
But
a
like
I'll give
Yellow
it to you.
Old
faces
mom.
on.
well, that's true. I
I like
honestly,
the emojis on the iPhone.
they're better. They're better.
No,
Yeah,
they're
they
not.
are.
Who needs words
I
when
would
you just
say
have a
yes.
yellow
Okay,
circle
they
with a
are,
face on it?
But they replaced the real gun with a squirt gun.
Yeah,
I will
that's
not stand for that.
But
Android didn't.
oh god.
Even if they did, you can change it. So
There
Here's
you
the
go.
thing. But all my besides Jacob, all
He's
my
not your
friends.
that's the appeal to Apple. They lock you into an ecosystem that you can't get out of. Everyone else has an Apple device, so you have to have an Apple
And
device.
it works better. Like I can't
It worked.
I can't FaceTime Jacob.
It doesn't work better. If you have an Android, you can do pretty much all of the same things
I know,
as an
but
Apple
who has
device.
an Android?
Me.
That's what I. But like, not a lot of people have Androids, and then it's
Actually, a
not
lot of
Actually,
people do
more
have-
people have Androids than they do iPhones.
But it's not.
there it is, marketing.
Not cool.
Your friend group
That's what I mean.
in the rich part of Hartville, Ohio, all have iPhones.
You can't use that word.
What?
Wealthier.
They're
Can't
rich.
Just the
admit
same
that
thing.
people have more money than we do.
Yeah.
We can't do that.
That's
And
crime.
like,
That's illegal.
here's my thing: if I really wanted to go get a job,
We need to be
so I can get an iPhone and pay for my
We
own
need to
phone
be
bill,
equally
basically,
poor.
I could do that. But I don't really care enough to, because I
Yeah.
don't feel like I would get the features out of it. Because something like FaceTime, there's only like 2 people that I might actually video call. They have Instagram. I'll just do it over Instagram, right?
Or do Google Duo.
Apple
as
users
well.
are too stingy to download Google
Then
Duo.
again,
That's true.
I think that kind of comes back to, at least for me, with the phones, like it shouldn't matter.
Yeah, no.
It's kind of being dependent on your phone, and
Yeah.
that's what
Oh
I'm
my
saying about
gosh,
myself.
People
not
are
you,
putting
Jacob,
way
but
too
you
much
brought
money
it
into
out
just a phone.
when you were saying that.
So
like,
many
you
people love
said
their phones.
you really don't care,
Yeah.
and that is honestly how it should be. Like stuff, material
Wow, it has
stuff
so many
shouldn't really
things
matter.
that the other phone can't do. A phone is for calling and texting. All the
Not
other
anymore.
apps are luxuries.
luxuries, and they're designed to make you comfortable, and so you don't do your work,
It's, yeah,
and so we waste our time, so we don't get stuff done.
People are.
it's unbelievable. Sorry. If you take a step back, I mean, look around the room, right? We have a laptop. We have all these cords. We have microphones. We have lights. We have a camera. We have air
dog.
conditioning, heating, a TV, and then
liquids.
yeah, that's true. But
That was more than one
like,
step.
imagine your phone dies. You're in the middle of a TV show. You're at a really climactic part. Phone dies.
Or
Or-
your phone in the movie.
Shut up. Or you drop.
Oh, you're
your
one of
phone
those people,
and
Zane.
Your screen cracks, right?
Oh gosh.
Did I? I'll
Like
hold that
how
for a minute.
mad do people usually get when their phone dies at a bad time or they drop their phone?
I
Right.
get mad. Well, no, I really don't care about my phone because I have a glass screen.
I take care of my phone, and that never happens.
That's right.
I
But if you think
usually
about it-
don't get that mad when my phone
I'm a
dies.
per-
Yeah, I
Perfect
was
human
gonna pick.
being.
I was
Yeah.
gonna say you're.
But
not
if
really
you're
bothered
doing
by that.
something, what if you're like
But-
you're playing a game and you're about to get to the new level, or
Yeah.
you're texting your crush or whatever,
and then
Ha,
I don't know.
Imagine having a
or you're
crush.
watching a video or something on your phone.
something really minute happens, and someone made this point to me, like. I was watching. I actually watched. I didn't watch all of it, but I watched like 2/3 of Schindler's List over break so far.
It's
And
a good movie, but it's
It's
kinda
just
sus.
it's crazy how accurate it is, but like
It's crazy.
I would know. I
if
was
you
there.
think you just imagine.
You know how Hitler moved
I
to
feel like-
Argentina? He's still alive. He's across the table. From
That's
us.
him.
That's.
I mean,
That's his,
people were like this in their houses. Imagine hearing, yeah, go ahead. Imagine hearing yelling, right? And suddenly, 30 soldiers bust down that door and literally throw us to the ground and drag us out of our home and take us to camps and literally
insane.
brutally genocide millions of people like us. And we get upset when we drop our phone.
When I'm on
when our phone dies,
Instagram and
our
when
power
I
goes out.
accidentally swipe and then I miss the memes that I wanted to look
Yeah.
at.
When
Oh,
your
no.
crush says, "Sorry, I'm not into you," you're like a friend of me. Like, there's so many minor things.
I
Okay,
felt
there's
that
pretty major
hard.
things.
I felt that. But you know what? It doesn't matter. Back to you.
So
Zane.
yeah, it's
You
it
can't
doesn't
get friend
matter.
zoned
Like
if you're
so
not
many
friends.
people. So
Okay, I
and
would.
the kind of a point that you made, how people in India know the ins and outs of a computer because that's all they have. Like they have to learn how to use certain things, but we don't. I mean, we don't know anything. Most
Yeah.
people don't know anything about
In the Western
like
world, specifically America.
deep knowledge about
Exactly.
technological.
What does
items
America?
and stuff like
what
that.
do we know? Like the majority of people in America, like, do we even know anything?
Basic high school education, maybe
Here-
college.
here's the
education.
thing, like we're getting to the point today, and we read in our English class that story about it was basically I forget exactly what it was called. The Veld. Oh, it was called the Veld.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
that
I
was a
read
great
that last
story.
year.
I love that.
Yeah, it basically like it's set way in the future, and this was written all the way back in what the 50s
This is the 50s.
Is this
yeah.
the
when
one
they-
with the
The lions, that
lions,
like
dude.
moitered
The
the
lions.
penguins.
basically
Riven's parents?
the parents saved up all this money so they
Right,
could
right.
just buy this house that could do everything for them.
Yeah.
So they no longer had to work, right? They had a room that their kids could play in, that it would like basically create whatever environment they thought of. And
That's gonna be awkward when they get to teenage years.
yeah, and so like they get older and they basically end up finally once
You just got it.
Sorry, I just
I
realized
said
what he was saying.
that would be
I'm sorry,
awkward when
I'm
they
really
get to
sorry.
teenage
Yeah.
years because you know.
no, but basically
Segs.
but what happened was like eventually their parents started like trying to put their foot down and saying this isn't good. Like they started seeing that, oh, we need to actually work, it's good for us. Their kids just got mad and they didn't really see their parents as parents anymore. Their house was basically their parent to them because their parents didn't wash them, they didn't cook for them,
were like
They didn't know how to
they
tie
were like
their
10
own
years
shoes.
old. I
Yeah,
don't
they
think
didn't know how to
parents
tie their
would
own
have been
shoes.
washing them.
No, but as a baby they didn't.
Oh, man.
As a baby,
Yeah,
they
no,
didn't.
no.
They didn't like do anything for them. So the house was basically their mother, and they were threatening to shut down the house. So they got the house to kill the parents, basically, and that was the end of the book. And it makes me think now. We're sitting here giving our 2 and 3 year olds iPads because we don't feel like parenting them. What do you think is going through their brains? Oh my Right? Like,
Okay,
I have a topic on
giving
that. Then I'll let you go.
little kids iPads and phones
Is dope.
is stupid.
awful.
There
It's
is
dope.
no.
It's awful.
There's
I agree.
scientific studies. It literally
Yeah, dude.
destroys brain development.
It's
Do
because-
not, if you are listening here and you're a parent, do not give your
Look at the
freaking kid an iPad. Don't do it.
Give
I'm
them an
telling you, when I
Android
become-
because
No.
it's cheaper and it's better.
When I
No.
become a,
Don't
when I become
do
a
it.
father, I'm going to get my kid.
Wait
an
until
erector
their
set.
brain is fully developed
That's not a
before you
joke.
give
Wait,
them
oh,
a
what?
phone.
Sorry.
Otherwise, their
I would-
brain will grow around
saying
it, and it
erector.
is horrible for them.
An erector set.
what's that?
Erector sets are
building?
from like the 70s.
It's like a building thing, right?
80s.
Lincoln Logs?
80s.
Oh, okay.
It's like it's.
Like,
I give my kids some
It was in
Lincoln
the
Logs.
Sandlot.
Lincoln Logs were great.
The Sandlot, when they made the
Oh,
robot,
yeah.
that was all erector set pieces. I'm gonna get my freaking child an
it was,
erector
it was
set.
that
teach
thing
them
that like
how to
he had the
think.
ball go around the room too at the beginning of the movie, right?
Teach my child
Yeah,
how to
yeah,
think.
it's all the metal
I-
pieces.
I had kind of a thing like that.
The electronics, I'm not sure if that was
Just sit
also
and do
erector set, but
philosophy
the
with
metal
your
pieces
child.
you could build stuff and add
Yeah.
wheels and push it around. Because I want my child to
I'll
learn
just
how
buy
to
them
think
and read
instead of
something on.
watch.
Yeah, I know.
something
It's like
else.
Legos. Legos is such a good.
Legos were amazing.
And
dude.
I feel like
My
They
even
still
a-
are.
my
I
brothers
still
still play
use
with
my
Legos.
Lego.
Legos are awesome.
I make fun of my brothers because they play with Legos.
Well, you
And then
are
I go
a
in my
horrible
brother's
brother.
Because you're not a
and
real man. Because
I
Legos
go,
are.
I go to my
freaking
brother's
sick.
room and play Legos anyways.
Yeah.
Sometimes.
here's the
But
thing.
then I make
Pronounce
fun of them
Lego,
for it.
not
Even I would
Legos.
say that there are some good, like acceptable uses for technology for little kids. I like the biggest problem is parents putting their kids on YouTube Kids. Like that's awful.
Oh
So,
my
like, it's
gosh.
just an endless stream of free content. Like
Yeah.
at least with like public news networks,
They don't
public
have to work for
stations.
anything.
Yeah, well, at least with
I
public
have to say
stations,
this though.
it's all approved. Like they can encounter some really awful stuff.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
But basically, what I was gonna say is, I would say something like if you had, for example, a family game console and had your kids play puzzle games or Minecraft or something to
dude.
actually like
Video
stimulate their
games
brain.
are way
Get a
better
Sega
for you
Genesis.
than videos and movies.
They're very good for
Which
kids because
I
they make them
think-
think.
I think it's kind of hilarious because, at least I know for my parents, they will sometimes, they don't do it very much anymore, but like they would prefer me to watch a movie with them than play a game.
Yeah.
Which, okay, I understand family time. Yes, I get that. I understand that 100%.
But
However, video games are better for you because when you are sitting and just being fed information through a screen,
Yeah.
that's bad for you.
That's a great way to phrase it, by the way.
Yeah. A video game is you reacting to things, and there's scientific studies. I watched a TED Talk on it.
Guys, he knows everything.
Oh, yeah,
You
I'm
might
a
as well.
genius already.
TED Talk.
I'm just- Video games, when used appropriately, like if you use them too much, is bad for you. Of
Oh,
course.
yeah,
Everything in
Everything,
moderation.
like we were saying.
Everything in moderation.
Drugs,
too much water
alcohol.
is bad for you. But
Performance enhancing.
video games,
drugs,
when
vodka.
used in moderation, are good for you.
Mm-hmm.
And they actually can improve skills. Shooting games improve your sight and your reaction speed.
Yeah,
you can tell
reaction
that.
time is-
It's like there are specific skills that games can teach you. Puzzle games, they teach you to think. But it's only when you use them properly and within moderation. And when we were talking about the Vel in our class discussions after we were reading it, one of the things that I said, and I stick to it, is that technology in itself is not wrong. And a lot of the times people try to say, "Oh, video games make people violent." I do not believe that
not
even
true.
for
I don't believe that at
violent
all.
people play violent video games. Video games and technology do not corrupt people. They just allow people to do things.
Yeah, it's like
It's-
violent people play
Machines
violent video
only
games.
listen to what people tell them to do.
Mm-hmm.
It can be a problem because when people always get what they want, it'll cause a problem.
I have two things.
But
yeah.
I lost my train of
He
thought.
lost it.
Go ahead.
Dang
Dang,
it!
bro.
Sorry.
Why? Go ahead.
When we talk about violence, specifically like what video games make people violent. One of the things it's like, I believe it talks about it in the Bible, but what most people say is that like, what you feed, like what you give your heart's gonna like what you like put your desires into, what you think about, like the music you listen to is a big one. That's what most people say. And like what you hear, like although you're not actively doing it, you're gonna alter your brain chemistry. You're gonna alter what you think is right. And I don't know alter brain chemistry, but like, if say you keep playing, you watch violent movies, you play violent video games, you watch violent videos on YouTube, you do all this like violent stuff. You listen to Annalie Choppa, you put on your black Air Forces, you walk out the door.
Your
And after-
swishy pants.
after like a month of all doing all that stuff, you're most likely gonna be a bit more violent, just because the stuff that you're
But my point is
feeding
this.
into.
Yes, that happens. But who decides what game you play? Who decides which music you listen to? And who decides what books you read, which artists you pay attention to, who you follow on the internet?
My mommy.
I mean, no, seriously, on
I
that on that point, with the
Right,
we need
mommy.
to ban violent video games point from parents is so dumb because they are the ones who are controlling it. It is literally
Yeah.
lazy
They're the
parents.
ones they're the generation that made it.
Yeah, it's lazy parents
guys.
saying I don't want to parent my kids so nobody can have fun. It's awful. But anyways,
Also,
continue.
they're the ones buying the games. for them.
Yeah.
So like, if you want to ban violent video games, just don't buy the games for your kids.
Yeah. It's like parents will be buying their kids GTA.
But
like,
then
not
again,
even
when
thinking
they-
anything
They're
of it.
like, oh, I don't like
When
nudity
you
and
when you give the
violence."
video games to, like, you put them in a stack, you put the bad one in the middle, and you give it to the GameStop guy, and the GameStop guy snitches on you to your mom. And it's kind of like, bro, like,
Well,
come
I mean,
on
that's
now.
it's kind of his job as an employee. It's like
I know,
being,
but it's like,
being
bro,
a
you're
cop.
snitching.
What I think is a
was a
really
joke.
big problem
That
with
is-
video
you're right.
games
It's like
nowadays.
being a
Suck.
Okay, what I was,
Yeah.
but this kind of goes into like, with the parents and stuff. I've been thinking about this for a while. So what I wrote down was boomers complain, comma, don't help. I'm not
Yeah.
saying boomers don't do anything. What I'm saying
They
is
work. They love to work.
They
They pay taxes.
like the generation
Israel.
before us, parents,
They support Israel.
people. Although I support Israel.
Says the Jew.
Turn on the frog day. Turn the freaking frog day.
What do you mean says the Jew? That makes sense that you would.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Well, okay.
Like,
Okay.
usually
Listen
when
up.
you
Listen
say,
up.
says the blank, it'd be like,
Okay. What I'm trying to say is, generations before us, they complain about our generation not working hard, being lazy, all this stuff.
which I would kind of
Yeah.
agree with.
Which
Yeah,
I agree with.
that stuff
Honestly,
to an
I agree
extent.
with. However, like we were saying, you got to look at the plank in your own eye as well, because you're not. Yeah, you can point out
You're
someone
old.
else, but you can't blame everyone for everything. So the generations before us, yes, they work hard, but at the same time, they're buying into all this stuff and they're raising us up, allowing us to do all this stuff, which it's our generation's fault too, but them as parents and like
Yeah,
older
they were
folk,
the ones raising us. That was
they're the
it's
ones
kinda
that
their fault.
kind of raised it on. Like I showed Zane it one time. It said, "Hard times make strong men make good times make weak men make hard times." The
Cycle.
strong men, the hard
You
times
know.
of World War II and stuff, produced like, okay, how do I want to phrase this? I'm not gonna produced
Be careful when you dive into World War II.
hard working. I just don't want to say hard men.
Oh.
That's what I didn't
saw
want to
that
That was
say.
the only phrase.
you could
World
have
War-
said hardened men.
No.
Tough guys.
World War II makes hard men.
So World War II made hardworking
I
people.
mean, when they came home.
Hardworking
That's why they're called the
people.
boomers.
Created good times, and the people that came out of the good times were the boomers. Boomers, they want life to be easier for their kids because life was hard.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
you want your best for your children. Obviously, naturally, that's.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that's bad. That's a good thing.
That's a great thing. Everyone
However,
should want the best for their
in like
kids.
giving in this pursuit of wanting the best for their children and stuff, we're making times honestly bad because parents are leaving. That's not being a good parent, but parents are just giving
leaving.
too much to their kids.
Yeah.
They're
That
not
is a great point.
teaching.
Well,
Like,
they
yes, technology. I'm not saying it's bad, and I don't think 2-3-year-olds should be having iPads, but use
little
technology to
children should
help
not.
teach
Don't
them.
do it.
Like, still teach your kids hard work. Don't let them be raised on like technology and stuff. Like, use it because that's the way the world's going. Don't be an Amish person. Sorry if you're Amish and you're watching.
You could
Well,
be an
no, you
Amish
are not
person.
watching. it.
You're not
Amish.
watching.
Don't
That was good. That was good.
just like keep up with the times, but at the same time, don't let the new times consume you. Don't let the newest things consume your children, and don't let the new things like raise your children. Like, still
We need a
raise
World
your
War
kids.
III. That's the only way to fix
Teach
the
them,
generation.
teach them how to, like in
I'd be
India,
down.
teach them how to do computers, how to write
Teach them
code.
to be an Indian.
Teach them to like do the stuff that they're gonna need to know. Don't just
Yeah.
say, okay, times were hard for me, so you know what? Yeah, you can have some more whipped cream. You can have that extra donut. You can go watch TV for half an hour longer. And honestly, as I say that sounds pretty nice. That sounds pretty
Please
good.
do
The
that.
thing is,
Okay.
a
Do that
point
for
you were
other
making-
kids so that they get good, but give me everything I want, please.
Like how much stuff? How much stuff we have?
The money that
That's
you
another
save
thing,
Oh,
like,
in
from your
America,
kid,
yeah.
donate
In
it to
America,
crazy.
people less fortunate than
The
us.
Benjamin
It's just
Foundation.
like, and again, the mentality that you were thinking. Parents want the best for their kids, so I want my kids to have more things than what I had.
Yeah.
But buying kids things, and just again things in America, we have so much because again in India, a useless what I would look at as a useless toy, or what would be just a piece of crap toy in my eyes, would be like a completely new thing to someone in like the Congo, or someone in like
man's garbage.
That's not right. That's not right.
shut up. But yeah, the amount
Technically, I
of
think that is right.
What?
One
man's
man's trash is another
man's
man's
treasure.
garbage. They're both
That's
trash.
true. That is
Yeah,
true.
yeah.
Both are true. Both are true statements. But it's just we have so much. Americans need to have less
Yeah,
stuff.
Americans need to be poor in order to have stuff. Like, I know that sounds bad, but like we need to actually face hardships before we demand more.
Oh my gosh, yeah. I mean, look at all the stuff right there. Camera won't see it.
It's
but,
just a
like,
bunch of games and stuff.
just
Look
a
at it,
bunch of
camera.
board
Do it.
games.
We
I will
don't-
never play any of those. I could donate probably 80% of those, and I wouldn't care because I don't use any
We're,
of them. But my parents spent money to buy them.
We're filled with so much stuff and just like information. Like, we're not supposed to know the whole like news of the world, and we're just filled with the ability to learn so much.
We
and
don't
we have
really
so
even
much
have the news of the world anymore. It's all
true,
controlled.
True.
It's all
But
lies.
you know what I mean? Like, we can hear stuff
Fake
from
news,
different
fake.
countries, and we can get any information we want, science, math, whatever.
Mhm.
And we have all this
Science,
stuff
math.
that we can go out and buy. And like, yeah, it's good. Like, it made life easier. Like, you don't have to go out and hunt for your food. But at the same time, in this pursuit to make life easier so we can focus on different things,
We've made it worse for ourselves.
we haven't been focusing on these different things. The goal was so we don't have to go out and hunt our food. We're gonna go buy it at the store, but we're gonna use the extra time of not having to hunt for our food to do to learn more science. And the generation before us has learned that science, and they've developed it, and then they created more stuff for us. And sadly, our generation, we're just getting raised upon, and we're just focusing on the stuff. We're not focusing on, okay, all of this stuff I don't have to write. Like, I can just type stuff out that's quicker. I can listen to a podcast, not read I can listen to an audiobook, and I don't have to read a book, saving more time. But of all the stuff that saves time,
We just waste it.
we're wasting it because we're just getting lost in the stuff that should be saving our time, because we're not using that saved time towards anything else. We're using that saved time to do more stuff that should be saving time. Like your phone, all this stuff, your phone should be able to help you save time. Like, you can talk to someone. You don't have to write a letter on a pigeon in your car, so you don't have to get out your horse
Messenger
and
pigeon.
attach it to the buggy. Like, all this stuff that is that should be helping us save time to focus on greater things. We're not focusing on greater things. We're focusing on the things that that should be helping
Useless.
us. It's not useless. I think it should be helping us, but it's hindering us. We are hindering ourselves by misusing what we have been given.
One thing I want to say with that is a really scary reality is, at least here in America, our power grid is not well protected.
It's almost
Like-
10 o'clock.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
No one
Like,
cares. No one cares.
yeah, here's the thing, like, if there was a well-coordinated terrorist attack to take out our power grid, we would be toast. We have
Yeah.
3 days worth of food at our stores.
What's that bomb called? Like a EDT or
EMP.
It's an EMP.
EDT?
EDT.
But like, yeah, if they got a bunch of EMP bombs, completely took
We're
out our
done.
power grid,
Oh my
yeah, we're
gosh,
done.
yeah.
We like, I hate to say it, but like, most of us that we know are basically gone. Like, we're gonna starve to death unless we have a
Absolutely.
serious storeroom, because we're not gonna have the ability to make enough food anymore. So I like the rural areas would
Which,
probably be able to
thank God
solve.
we live where we live in
Yeah,
case that
nearly.
happens.
Like, people in the
because we have
cities
farms everywhere.
screwed. But yeah,
Well,
around
I
here
hope you
we
guys like
I
corn.
mean, we are close
Yeah.
to Cleveland, but I don't think we're close enough to really
No.
deal with all those problems.
but
You
like,
can't walk that far.
I don't think we could walk to Hartville.
Me and cross country didn't train you to do this.
I mean, we could
Yeah,
run there.
Your entire
but-
life has brought you.
No,
to
I
this
meant
point.
like people in Cleveland. Like, that's a far walk.
Oh my gosh, they couldn't walk or run.
It's like an hour
down
drive.
there. Yeah.
Nah,
Marathon
I could just
runners
walk
run
across
down
the
here.
United
I mean, you
States. It's not
could,
that
like, they
long
did
of a
that back
distance,
in-
like 500 miles.
That's it.
Back in the day, but like
Back in my day.
But it's like there are people that are like who are conscious of this stuff and take their families off the grid, and I like have so much respect for them. I'd like to go off the grid
Oh, yeah.
personally, but it's so much of a commitment. You basically have to have the funds, get the knowledge, and build
Yeah.
you're basically building it's like your own little
bunker.
society
You're
from
starting
scratch.
from scratch.
Yeah.
I mean,
That's like
you're taking almost every. I mean, you're not taking everything
to
you
take a
learn.
call.
Yeah, you're not taking everything you ever learned. But I mean,
It's
you're starting to acquire knowledge you never had. So it's not like you're getting rid of everything all your previous knowledge. You're acquiring new knowledge that you're gonna use way more than whatever you learned in the past. So you are starting from scratch. And he is totally right. If a terrorist, yeah, I mean the entire country would be screwed, except for like the Midwest, like Nebraska and Nebraska is all government bomb testing, but like rural
Iowa.
areas like Wisconsin or not Wisconsin,
The Nebraska.
idiots out walking around.
over there, yeah,
What Iowa stands for.
we'd be screwed. And you know how much an EMP does, right? Like
Like a boogie bomb in Fortnite.
It explodes things, I
Like-
think.
no, like
It gives you a really bad sunburn.
Do you know what? Do you know what an EMP does? Actually,
It kills people.
Isn't that what they did to Nagasaki?
Hiroshima?
I mean,
Why'd I call it Nagasaki? Wait, was that the place?
yeah, Hiroshima and Nagasaki.
Oh yeah.
But do you guys
What?
actually know what an EMP does? This is a serious question.
Blows up.
It like
You
you can't use technology like batteries and stuff.
everything electrical, phones,
It's an electric
car-
bomb.
all batteries. Yeah, and actually, when a normal bomb goes off, it sends out an EMP.
It blows the
It
circuits
sends
of
out an
everything.
EMP.
right, yeah.
But
It's a pulse of electricity.
but
That's what it stands for, electromagnetic pulse, right?
yeah.
It's
So
just
a
a
bomb-
big pulse that will blow up everything if they don't have a good circuit breaker.
And every nuke or bomb releases that, but it also destroys everything, so it wouldn't affect it.
Oh no, my destroyed pieces of metal don't work anymore.
I've actually been thinking about pulling a. I always forget. Was it David or Daniel that was with Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego? Is it Daniel? Daniel. I've been tempted to go like completely monk Daniel, just like go into a real, like go into
Different.
up to. I've been to New Hampshire before. Go into the deep, just alone
The
in
deep,
New
dark
Hampshire.
pits of New Hampshire.
And I'm not saying build it like a fort in the woods, but I'm saying
But-
like isolate yourself from technology, drink only water, fast. When you do eat, only eat pulse, which would be like only vegetables, like beans and peas and stuff like that,
A veggie
and
cleanse.
see what happens. Like combination of fasting, only drinking water, and only eating like pulse. I want to see what happens. That
You'll
and also
just-
being away from.
You'll go-
Basically just a pilgrimage. Except that
Well,
you're sitting where you are.
I would disagree.
but it's in New
with-
Hampshire.
I've actually thought heavily about this. Going monk.
I don't
Funky
know.
Monkey Friday.
Here's the thing about monks, right? Like, you can't do much if you're a monk. Sure, you can dedicate your full life to God, but if humans, you have to decide what you think God's purpose for you is here on Earth. Because if God wants you to have a family, you can't be a monk. That's not going to work.
That's what I mean. The reason, what I say, I've thought
Jesus'
about being a
last
monk a lot.
commandment to Christians before he left was therefore go and,
And
make
make
disciples
disciples.
of all nations, baptizing them in the name of Father, Son, Holy Spirit. We are not called to be segregated from this world. We are called to be a part of this world. We're supposed to be in the world, but not of it.
Mhm.
We're a different breed. We're built differently.
We are built different.
We're built differently. And the world is going to see that. And our point as Christians is to be not reliant on technology or on all the stuff of this world, but to instead be reliant on God. And then
Dependent.
dependent on God. That's what we're supposed to
On
be
God.
as Christians. And I think that one of the problems with like being a monk, there's nothing wrong with devoting your life to Christ.
Oh,
That's a very
absolutely
good
not.
thing. But I don't think that that's not necessarily what I think God has called everybody to do. And
would-
that
and I think that
that's
there's
what I wanna-
that God has called each person to walk with God, but it appears differently in everyone's life. I think that you don't need to be a missionary going to Africa to preach the gospel to be a good Christian. That might be an example of a good Christian, but if God called you to be here in America and then you went to Africa, then you'd be sinning. Because anything that is not of God is sin. The Bible tells us this. And
I like
so
that.
we are supposed to focus our lives around God, and we should focus less on the government, the technology, the drugs, literally everything around us, we should be focusing and being reliant on God, because only then can we actually see what our purpose is supposed to be in our life. And that's the only time when we are actually making the best use of the 80 years that we have on this earth.
That's a good point.
And-
Like, realistically, what we do that doesn't affect the afterlife here, like, doesn't matter. Like,
Yeah.
I feel like
Just read.
I basically, this past summer, I was thinking a lot because, I had a lot of time to myself. And I was, like, kind of looking at kind of just philosophy in general. And I kind of came to the conclusion that for people and this kind of made me mad for a lot of other, like, for the average worldly person, it just kind of makes me mad because logically looking at everything, if you are going to say outright there is no God, I don't believe in a God, then you should be a nihilist. And if you're not, you're just delusional.
Yeah.
Nihilist.
Basically, you understand nothing matters. If there is no God and we're all just here from an evolved species, morals do not exist. Nothing matters. We're all going to die anyways. Like, they're...
Which, to that point, you can look at societies, like groups of people. Again, I'll come back to the Congo because I watched a Joe Rogan podcast with David Cho, I think is his name.
Yeah.
And he went to the Congo. But, like, societies like that are, and also in South America, that are completely blocked from other societies and they're super behind in the times, they still have morals. And if we just evolve, you can't develop morals through evolution because it's impossible.
Well, you can reprogram your morals, I would argue.
Well,
But we wouldn't share more.
this
That's
is
interesting.
kind of going off into a topic, honestly, that could take another podcast.
truth.
Just the
Yeah.
the whole
That's
the whole
happened.
morals thing.
That's happened a lot of times here.
So it's like,
But
I'll just kind of close it here. Most of what society believes and it's called existentialism. And it's basically the idea of, I can just give life my own meaning and it'll be fulfilling. When in reality, it won't be.
It removes all meaning from life.
Yeah. By thinking you will thirst your quench for meaning and purpose with something worldly, you throw out any other chance of a good life you could have, basically, because you're so hyper focused on this one thing, you miss everything else.
don't be dependent on the things that don't matter in this world.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you focus on anything but God, even marriage and dating and relationship, like, yeah, that's of God, but if that's your whole focus, everything's not like, no one on this earth is perfect. Everything on this earth is not perfect. So when you put your dependency on that and you focus on that one thing, you're gonna get let down. Your phone's gonna die, like you said, or you're gonna drop it, or your marriage gets rocky, or you get cheated on, or whatever. And that's why in Christ, he doesn't go away. So that's why I felt like the whole dependency thing. I mean, it's not like we were saying. All of that stuff, it's not bad.
Mm-hmm.
But don't let that be your sole focus.
Yeah.
That's all I got
But-
for tonight.
I have to make the last point before we end this. I don't care. You can't be. This kind of goes back to that little discussion we had about the church, right? You can be dependent on other people to teach about the Bible, which is expected. I mean, there's people. I mean, the reason we have cross references is because someone did the work, so we're dependent on that. But you can't be completely dependent on pastors, even, or priests, just because they're of God. And I'm only going to throw that in quotes because not every pastor is of God,
Nope.
because Joel
They're
Osteen
not.
exists. I don't know who said
what
that.
was
I
it?
don't
The
know- I don't know
Joel
who said that.
Osteen Amazon thing.
we need to order that still.
Yes, we do. But yeah, you can't be dependent on someone or something.
Inspiration
Just
cube, that's what it
because-
was.
The inspiration cube.
To the point where
Just because you think, even if they say they're of God, and even if they are really of God, you have to be careful not to be dependent on. and basically anything except
be
God
de-
himself. You can't be dependent
Except
on
for God.
anything.
Don't be dependent on something or someone to the point where if they fall off a cliff, you are pulled down with them.
Yeah. If
Both.
I threw any of your guys' phone off a cliff, except for you maybe, I'm sure you guys would actually get
'Cause you have
really
a
upset.
Samsung.
And I would. I'm
Not
victim
even
of that.
dude. This
If you-
thing's a Motorola. This thing doesn't even have the title of Samsung. The back just falls off. Screen's cracked.
if you threw my phone, if we were at the Grand Canyon together and you threw my phone off the cliff, I mean, I would be
Yeah, you'd-
so
That's it. I'm not going to the Grand
so
Canyon with
mad at
Zane.
you.
Not gonna
But
do it.
it's minute. I'm depending on it too much.
I mean, I'd probably be understandably upset, and I would want them to pay for a new one. But
Yeah.
like, I'm not
Yeah.
really
New
gonna. I'm not gonna like. Yeah, basically.
Yeah. You shouldn't, like...
I believe in property. Like,
Okay.
But yeah, but you know what Zane was saying. Like,
We're getting off
Just an
topic.
example. Like if you push
So-
my mom off a cliff, I shouldn't be.
Give it back. I want a new one.
dependent.
Wait, that's a
That's
little.
a- that's a-
I
You
think we
better
all know
buy
what
me a
Zane was
new
saying,
one.
That's a little bit different. You know what? She's my new.
New mom.
Okay.
The old one was breaking anyway.
I think. Beside. That's all I got.
okay, here's my thing.
Augers. Oh.
If you guys gotta go, I understand, but I really want to get back
Yes.
to the government selling crack.
Yes. Okay.
Okay.
If either of you need to leave, you can.
I told my
Contact
ride.
rides.
It's about 10-15 minutes.
10,
Okay.
15 minutes. How long ago was that?
At like
10, 15 minutes ago.
At like 3
Okay.
minutes ago.
If you want to text your ride, you can.
That's end of the.
I can literally go.
That's
Okay.
end of the
Yeah.
discussion. End of the podcast
Kind of.
of the main topic.
Yeah.
This is just a little. This is the extra
This is bonus
spice.
video.
video.
Little
This is
extra.
bonus
Little
video.
bonus.
Hey guys, this is Jacob in Post. The part that we transition to is going to be uploaded as a second bonus almost episode later. So that's all for right now for this episode, but that will be up later. Thanks.